Layla says this Cameron guy that she's dating on this season was basically just a fame whore. Now, isn't that a bitch? Mormon, father's a bishop, never had alcohol. Doesn't mean he can't be thirsty for some camera time. Layla went on Morgan's Pop Talks. Love Morgan. I'm sure you all know who I'm talking about. And Layla's like, I don't think he will mind the camera time. Anyway, guys, how are we doing? Welcome back to She's Speaking with Emily Hanks. If you didn't know, I am covering all of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Season 2, episode by episode. And today we are on episode 4. And I think we should just get into it. So before I do that, make sure you're subscribed, following the show, watching on YouTube, leave a comment. Let's do it. Speaking of Layla and Cameron, they have a little date on camera. She says their sex life is good, but she still hasn't had an orgasm. I am going to say something that I'm sure I'm going to get some hate for. I'm just saying it. I'm leaning in. I don't care. Get mad at me if you want. I feel like Layla could maybe think about trying women. I know she would not. I know she wouldn't, but just she's having such a tough time connecting. She doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know what she's into. She's exploring. I'm like, don't rule it out. Just don't rule it out. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to say that she is, but listen, if you don't know me by now, if you're new here, hello. I think everyone's a little gay. And I think that being afraid of homosexuality within us is crazy. Okay. I'm fluid. I'm bi. I don't ever label myself like that. I've never actually dated a woman. I've only dated men. But I've hooked up with many a women. And I don't like to be like, I'm bisexual, respect it or anything like that. But like sometimes people will come in the comments and be like, it's not cool for a straight woman to say things like this. I'm like, but I'm not. That's why I can say it. Because I'm like, try it. Might be fun. I'm just saying. Moving on. We're going to get to more of that in a second anyway. So moving on. All right. Taylor, Macy, and Kayla, they get lunch. And this is where they throw in this little interview soundbite. Okay. I have to say it's a little shady of them to throw it in maybe like out of context because Taylor does say she's worried about Dakota's sobriety. But I don't think what she's saying is that there are signs in him that he's using. More like, I know that, fighting and arguing and just toxicity isn't good for someone who's trying to stay sober. That's what I'm getting from it. I'm saying, like, sometimes with Dakota, not as much this season. No, there's still last season for sure. There were, like, the first time we met Dakota on camera, I was like, whoa, are we sure he's sober? This season, I'm not noticing it as much. So I'm going to be honest about that. But I don't think that Taylor was saying, like, I worry about his sobriety in that I'm seeing signs. I think she was like, I know that by being with someone who's trying to stay sober, that's something to be concerned about. That's what I was getting from it. But Taylor keeps trying to be like, I'm done with them. And finally, Macy's just like, no, you're not. You fight with them like you're still together. Like, only way you guys are going to be done is if you only talk about ever. Kayla's like, just separate and take care of your baby. And you can see Taylor's face is kind of like, oh, fuck you guys. Because Taylor is, at the end of the day, still a mess. This is what makes her good television, what makes her a star. We love flaws. But Taylor is still like defensive and immature. And then Macy goes, would you be pissed if he went on a date with someone? And Taylor's like, well, if he goes on a date with someone during this, then he's not my person. So you're not together. That's what we're trying to say here is that you guys are together because, Well, Macy then brings up the Sinner Sunday confessional she got about Demi's husband cheating on her. Now, look, if Macy hadn't got that one Sinner Sunday confessional about Dakota that ended up being true, I'm sure she wouldn't even give it a second thought. But because she got one that was spot on accurate, oops. So that's all. There it is. But Michaela does not really believe that could happen, because I think she even says, like, well, they're like together all the time. Like, I doubt it. But who Michaela does not believe is Zach, and how he's being sincere and how he's changed. She does not buy that. But I don't know if Michaela is doing a lot of her opinion forming through Demi and Jesse a bit, because she seems like she's still pretty heavily influenced by them. Um, or she knows more than I do. I mean, I'm only seeing an edited show, so I could be completely wrong. Jen goes over to Miranda's house, and she starts asking a lot of like logistical questions about Miranda's divorce, which could have just been her being curious. Truly, it could have just been her trying to relate, but it like looks a little fishy, you know? Like, she's like, when did you know? Is it hard to send your kids to Chase? What was the breaking point? Like, but like I said, this could totally just be her trying to get to know Miranda, honestly. Jen says that she can't go to Demi and Jesse with stuff going on in her marriage because their narrative is leave him. And I agree. I fucking agree. That is what their narrative is. All right. Meanwhile, Jordan, Brett, and Zach go golfing. Zach actually makes a joke. He's like, you guys want to do some betting? They're like, no one talked. They're just like, he's like, sorry, too soon? They're like, yeah, we did not know what to do. So then Zach asks them about that Halloween situation. He's like, you could have let me know. And I was a little surprised that Zach was like, I'm very traditional, and a few minutes earlier, you almost physically assaulted someone. I was like, oh shit. And then Jordan is like, after they physically assaulted someone. I'm like, oh, wow, you guys really don't have the full scope. Really don't have the full scope of it, because he wasn't physically assaulted. Like, she wasn't physically assaulted. You know, I mean, I guess technically you could. No, that's not what it was. And Jordan's all proud. He's like, I will never walk away from that. Okay, buddy. I was raised, you don't put a hand on a woman. And again, that is not cool what Chase did. Can't repeat that enough. I did not like his energy. I did not like his tone. And I'm really annoyed the way Demi handled it was making us like defend Chase a little bit. Because if she hadn't gone and taken it that far, we could still just be like yelling at Chase. Because the way he did that was disgusting. And it was very entitled. Like, you can come up into my space and talk to me like that. And don't like any of it. But then when you guys are turning it into that, I'm like, well, now we're all a little bit off, you know? Jordan also says, I didn't touch Jen. And he probably didn't. Probably just danced on her. And Zach goes, if you want to be petty, I can be petty with you. Oh, didn't see that coming, sir. He goes, I'm doing this in a respectful way. What Chase did was touch Demi without consent and in a condescending way. What you did was touch my wife without consent in a condescending way. Now you lost me, buddy. There was no condescending way. They weren't condescending. Chase, you nailed it. You nailed it with Chase. But they were not. And then, of course, Jordan's very defensive, because now it sounds like now they're probably freaking out. They're like, we could get in trouble. Like, this could look bad. We kind of thought this was going to be funny, but now we could get in trouble for this. And so Jordan's like, Jen was warned about the whole thing. And was told you could be included, but chose not to. But he's like, that doesn't mean I couldn't have reached out and included you. And I'm like, you should have. It's the only thing you should have really done. And so Zach's now in an uncomfortable position, because he's like, well, she has sworn on her life that she wasn't warned, so I have to believe her. And if that comes out to be not true, then it is what it is. And Brett, I'm not going to give Brett too much shit, because I feel like he's sort of nailing it here. He says Jen might be a bit of a moving target based on what she's comfortable with. So she might be worried about how you'll react, and so her message might change. I'm like, yeah, that's it. Like, she's adjusting her boundaries and her own sense of self to fit where she is in that moment. And I think that kind of like a moving target based on what she's comfortable with. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's well done. Maybe that ketamine therapy does do some good. But that's all I'm going to give you right now. All right, Taylor and Dakota, they went to therapy together, and it seems like it went great. But when they show the flashback, it's so funny because it's basically just Taylor talking about this party. And like telling a therapist to like, yeah, and then he got in my face and then Dakota got in my face. And so I was like, fuck you. And then he was just like, fuck you. And the therapist is like, wow, this sounds like a wonderful time. But she thinks that they had a breakthrough because it sounds like Dakota was just like saying all the right things. I don't care, whatever. Demi and Jesse throw a sex party for Layla. Now, this is like silly, but it's also filming, right? It's filming stuff. You do silly things just for the cameras. And this is an example of that. But this woman that they got to like host is no joke. And when Layla walks in, she's like, oh my God, you guys, to me, it's so cute. This table has dildos and butt plugs on it. She's like, oh, this is so cute. So Jen is not there, and Miranda tells them that she hung out with Jen and that Jen was asking a lot of questions about her divorce. And they were like, did you talk about the Chippendales thing? And she said, yes, she didn't know that there was going to be other people and dancing. And Demi and Jess are like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. We totally told her. To me, they just seem busted. The two of them just seem like it was a flop of a prank or whatever the hell it was. And now they're just embarrassed because like it just it wasn't flushed out right, you know? And then you're going to get immediately busted for kind of like doing exactly what you guys did, but you're going to deny it. Like you were just trying to make Zach look bad and prove that Jen and Zach are not in a good place or something. Or maybe they thought it would be that fun to watch Jordan and Brett and this other guy dance on Jen. Like Jen being in the middle was really uncomfortable, you know? And it was a house party. It wasn't like a club with like a bachelorette party of people like, woo, nope. It was a house party with pretty much sober people. So for the most part. So then I really thought Jen was not going to be coming to this event. I'm like, why would she? There she is walking up. There she is walking right up. Well, now they got to give this certified sex therapist person something to do. So she takes them through these games. And the first thing she asks them is what turns them on. And Layla can't answer. And I'm telling you, you know, I feel like maybe because they're all like, I like his arms when he's doing whatever. I like the smell. And Layla's like, I don't know. And she's having sex with that guy. What's his name again? Cameron. All right. This woman has them blindfold themselves and touch their partner with the tickler and ask, do you want it harder or softer? Do you want to be scratched? And it's super silly. But Taylor's like the one who goes up and kind of volunteers to do it. And she's like, yeah, I want to scratch. Like Taylor's funny about it. Then Demi, they're like all they're paired off. And Demi goes, I'm so straight, it's scary. Shut up. Shut up. Okay. No one's getting like turned on for real right now. Like it has nothing to do with you being straight. But Miss Sex Positive Queen Taylor is like, this is not about being straight. It's just enjoying the feeling of it. And then Demi goes, yeah, but you've kissed girls. I've never kissed a girl. And Taylor's like, oh, okay, but I'm so straight too. I didn't not enjoy it, but it was a turn on. I mean, but it also like wasn't a turn on. I just did it. And then Jess kind of for the save is like, it was just fun because you were drunk. I'm like, yeah, hi. And then Taylor goes, Miranda's a great kisser. And Miranda's kind of like smiles. I'm like, I want to kiss her. I want to try. She looks so pretty. I have such a crush on Miranda. Can you tell? Taylor's interview, she's smart. She goes, I mean, obviously this is like interviews are done after everything, but you know, at this point in the interview, Taylor's got her number. She's like, Demi makes these judgmental jokes that are aimed at you, but not directly. And that's spot on. That's exactly what she does. A little sneaky one over there. Layla volunteers to be tied up, and then the instructor lady starts like lightly tapping her with the whip. But I mean, it's like barely touching her. And it's like, did you want it harder or softer? And I'm like, anything is harder than that. Like, that's nothing. Like, what I'm confused what she's supposed to be into. But then Layla, who just doesn't know enough in her interview, is like, I found out that I like it hard and rough. All right. After the games, Demi asks Jen how her and Zach are doing. And Jen is like, She's like, it's okay. Demi says, has it been a long road and Jen's like, she's like, yeah, it's been a lot. I'm just trying to figure it out. And as of now, I'm just going to keep it between Zach and I. And Demi's like, wow, classic. But I'm like, yeah, this is, if you really want to know how Jen's doing, talk to her privately. Like, if you are her friend and you care, I do not buy that Demi has any good intentions anymore. I just really don't. All right, Macy got a book deal. Woohoo. I'm so happy for her. And she hosts a dinner to announce it. The seating chart's a whole thing. Macy makes her announcement through tears. She's so proud of herself. And Demi looks jealous. And they acknowledge it. They're like, the producers the cameras clearly picked up on it. You can see her like, why not me? Why don't I have one? And it's like Macy sold it. Like, she has wanted to write a book for a while, clearly. It's been a passion of hers. Come on, Demi. All right, well, then Macy invites them to join her when she hosts the celebrity pickleball tournament in Arizona. But then she goes, all right, guys, it's time for you to confess, and pulls out what looks like a truth box. And they're like, okay, so it's a truth box? And she goes, no, this is very different. This is anonymous. I'm like, yeah, girl, that's what they thought too. They thought it was going to be anonymous before it was the truth box. But at first they're all just like personal sexual confessions, just like silly things like I had sex in high school parking lots and stuff. And then Taylor's, she gets it and she goes, I think Jen is fake. And the music's like, doom, 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 and they like cut around everyone's face. And that's the end of the episode. I thought that was an interesting episode to break, like to take it there. I'm like, oh, that was actually kind of interesting. Not like a lot happens even after that, but it was just like, okay, that was actually, I thought the editing was good. The production and the editing is top tier. I gotta say, it really is. So it was a short one today. I won't say this was a filler episode, but it was probably the least action-packed episode of the whole season, of all the 10 episodes. But okay. Sorry to cut it short, guys, but that's all they gave me to work with. All right. Anywho's, I love you so much. Mean it. Love this journey we're on together. See you next time. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to She's Speaking with Emily Hanks. This show is produced, hosted, and edited by me, Emily, and brought to you in partnership with Cloud 10 Media. If you are looking for bonus content, check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. To show some support, you can hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Another free way to support the pod, please rate and/or review on whatever platform you listen. It's free, and it helps the algorithm or something. You can also head to buymeacoffee.com/shespeaks and buy me a coffee or two. Make sure you're following me on all social medias. I am She's Speaking with Emily Hanks across all platforms: Threads, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. That's it. Thank you guys. See you soon.